Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have not filmed a video in forever. I have not sat down to talk to a camera in forever. So this is going to be a bit difficult, but I feel like maybe editing is going to salvage it. Yeah, as the title suggests, I would like to talk to you about summer flowering Cattleyas, namely Cattleya rex. Say hello. And Cattleya dowiana. I got both of these plants from Schwerter Orchideen in 2020. Oh, sorry, I feel like I should word this differently.
I got both of these plants from Trigger Warning Schwerter Orchideen in Trigger Warning March 2020.
And they were part of an order that kind of constitutes the first plants I got for this collection. I got Cattleya rex, Cattleya dowiana, Cattleya walkeriana, Paphiopedilum mordiae, vinicolor, and an Ingracum leonis. I still have all of these plants. All of them have bloomed actually. Cattleya dowiana being the last one to make it there. And I would honestly say I have quite a sentimental attachment to all of them. Some more than others, admittedly. Leave a comment down below what you think I prefer. And actually maybe this could be a really cool video because I feel like if I had to give up all of my plants in my collection, definitely these two would stay. And maybe, yeah, if you're interested, I could make a video where I talk about the other ones that I would definitely keep. But yeah, so Cattleya rex, I feel like this plant has been featured on my channel ad nauseum. I've shown it at every stage of the growth. I've been so proud of it the entire time. It flowered for the first time last year, so this year is the second time. Last year it had 2 flower spikes with a total of 5 flowers, so one with 3 buds, one with 2. This year it has 4 flower spikes and all of them have 2 flowers. One of them was already spent, that was kind of faster, and it only lasted for 4 days. So this is kind of the second flush on this plant. 3 flower spikes, 6 flowers in total, and they've lasted much longer. So I'm a bit unsure. Maybe there are actually 2 or even more plants in this pot. The shape is different, you know, they last different times. Also the fragrance is different. Because the first flush this year did not smell like almost anything. And this one has a very distinct kind of, it's a bit difficult to say. I don't want to say artificial, but almost like a blunt vanilla. You know, when you have like a vanilla ice cream, but not like the artisan natural kind, but more like the big box that you get for cheap. And I know I don't make the fragrance sound appealing at all, but it's a very comforting smell, like a vanilla pudding. You know, it's not actual vanilla bean, but more like mellow food with vanilla. And I feel like the fragrance also gets a little stronger towards the evening. And suddenly I get this waft of scent. And I feel like in the morning, when you smell it in the morning, it's also there, but I feel like it's almost cut with like a fruity note, like a raspberry something. You know, bear in mind, this is it's this plant and it's my description, so you might smell something completely different. But to me, this is kind of what I get. Heavy on vanilla, and then, you know, depending on the time of day, maybe a little nuance with kind of a tangy fruit. Very pleasant, and I can smell it also from outside the plant room, so that's always a plus. Yeah, as you can see, this Cattleya rex is not very yellow. Some people have petals and sepals that are more yellow, mine are more, it's a very, very weak cream color. Flowers emerge from mature pseudobulbs, so every Cattleya species has a different way of growing, maturing, and so on. And I feel like for Cattleya rex, what I've seen now is that the bulb matures and the leaf opens, and then you have a sheath inside, which then starts kind of growing as the maturation of the pseudobulb finishes. And then the buds, there's no rest or anything. The buds just come out, open up, and are gorgeous, as you can see. And yeah, so this is kind of the Cattleya Rex. I've talked a lot about care advice for Cattleya Rex. Admittedly, I feel like it's kind of cringe to look back at these videos because I sat there with my tiny plants. And I mean, yes, it was growing well, but still no flowers inside. And I feel like it's kind of shady to give care advice on a plant when you don't even, there's no proof of you flowering it. So, what are your credentials? Difficult. Is that male privilege? Leave a comment down below. But yeah, I feel like also for Cattleya Rex care advice, just go to William Green over on My Green Pets. He has Cattleya Rex, he's grown them from seedling. He has also different color forms now coming, I think. Just look at his videos, don't listen to me. If, however, you have questions, leave them in the comments down below. I think my tips for Cattleya Rex are just normal Cattleya care, highlight, lots and lots of intense light. Don't burn them though. Right? But so I have mine under artificial light. I use just kind of the Mars Hydro Grow lights. They receive like upwards of 10,000, maybe 15, 20,000 lux. I do vary the daylight length to mimic seasons. I can appreciate that probably the market is a little difficult ever since Germany legalized cannabis. I think grow lights were just completely out of stock everywhere. Don't worry, people will realize that they can't grow a normal Phalaenopsis. They certainly can't grow cannabis at home. So I'm sure you will be able to find lots and lots of secondhand grow lights very soon on eBay and wherever. So is that shady? Maybe it's shady, but no. Realistically, most of my collection goes outside during the summer, but since this plant was in bud or in sheath and then buds growing, I didn't want to move it outside and just ruin everything. I was hoping for temperatures to be ready for its move sooner, but this year I feel like the weather was turbulent. Lots of rain, we got lots and lots of rain in Europe, and temperatures really weren't that warm. I have no experience with it, but from what I've read and also just my intuition says Cattleya Rex does not appreciate low temperatures too much. Definitely I can tell that it slows down a lot when winter comes, and I don't heat my orchid room at all because I want my plants to really experience also a little bit of a temperature seasonal shift. So normally I put this onto heat mats to make sure that it doesn't just completely slow down during the winter. But I think either way, it will always take a little bit of a rest. It has a dry season. Where it comes from, it's from Peru, I want to say. So there are two seasons, a rainy and a dry season. And so winter would anyways be the dry season, but temperatures would still be higher than, 15 degrees or whatever I have in the orchid room during winter. So the heat mat really helps there. I have to make sure I don't say heat map because I'm a scientist, so heat map is always kind of on my mind. But anyway, so yeah, these are kind of my tips. And I feel like a really important thing is also my general tip for Cattleya species is when in doubt, drought. What I mean by that, it sounds so cheesy, but what I mean by that is if you look at your plant and you wonder, should I water or not? Just don't. I always look at my plants and wonder, okay, are they suitable to shriveling a little bit? If they're not, I might not water, to be honest. And then you look at the leaves, if you squeeze the leaf, is it moving a lot? If it's limp or wilting, 100% water. Hello, what are you doing? Don't kill your plants. But if they're very firm, so this is called a turgor. If it's firm, that's all water pressure in the plant. So it's still very well hydrated. Yeah, I'm a really lazy grower. I don't want to put too much work into my plants. I have the grow lights there. It's set automatically to switch on and off. During winter, I water them maybe once every other week. During summer, it really depends. But if it's raining a lot and there's a lot of humidity, maybe I don't have to water that much because the aerial roots can still catch water from the air almost. I mean, of course, you have to actually water them sometimes, but the plants also don't lose as much water. So it really depends. But yeah, as I said, when in doubt, drought. And yeah, so this is kind of my brief overview over Cattleya rex care. I feel like if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments or just watch every video that William Green has ever made. There's a lot to learn there for sure. And I think also he describes his Cattleya rex smells like roses, or his rexes. I don't smell any rose in mine. But yeah, so this is Cattleya rex. And yeah, I'm gonna put a picture in what it looked like when I got it, or I guess a year after I got it, and what it looks like now. I think this is like a 30 centimeter diameter pot. It's full. Oh, it has a new growth coming on the back. Interesting. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Yeah, it's quite a big plant actually. And so let's continue with Cattleya dowiana. So this is a first bloomer this year. I really like the Cattleya rex. But the Cattleya dowiana, when I saw the flowers on that one, I was blown away. I'm sorry, like I'm always the kind of person who's like, I don't grow my plants with flowers. Like, I don't collect flowers. But like for Cattleya dowiana, if you look at this and you don't pass out from splendor overload immediately, what is wrong with you? I was just so impressed. The contrast between the light yellow and this beetroot color, which I already know it's not going to show up well on camera. I've tried photographing this plant, it didn't work. So annoying. I hope I can kind of showcase the flowers, because from what I've seen, kind of from checking out the camera, everything gets lost. It just looks like a black void, and that's so not the case. It's this frilly, as I said, beetroot lip with this almost like gold threading. It just looks so splendid, and I'm just so happy with it. Also, the flowers are pretty large, like look compared to my hand. Ooh! Right, I think I measured it. It's, I don't know, like some centimeters across and everything. I'll just put it somewhere, but I feel like for a first flower, this is pretty large. Yeah, as I said, I've had this plant now for almost 4.5 years. I got it as a tiny seedling. I think this one cost €7.95 and the Cattleya rex cost like €9.95 back in the day. Like, talk about a steal. That's so cheap. It's ridiculous. That's the beauty of buying young plants though, right? You get some really cool and rare plants, especially for very low. Both of these are such rare plants. I think in real life, I don't know anyone who has them. I'm part of an orchid society here, and I've talked to the Cattleya growers, and of course they know them and they've heard about them, but I don't know anyone who owns one. I know several people online, right? I've mentioned William Green now for Cattleya rex. I know Nina has one. I think Todd's Tropicals, he has one as well. Not 100% sure, I think he got rid of some of his orchids though. Have to double check. I've been so bad with keeping up with everyone's videos. I'm so sorry. But I think he mentioned he wanted to get rid of some of his orchids. Maybe he got rid of his. I know I sent one to Mark from Tokyo World. But yeah, I think that's it. Does Stephen Campen Lewis have a Cattleya rex? I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you're growing one, because I feel like it's such a rare plant and it has such a bad reputation. And it's insane. And Cattleya dowiana, I don't think everyone recognizes it. And I don't think many people have one. I think Nina repotted hers recently. I'm pretty sure William Green has some. Who else? Leave a comment down below. Really, I must know. But anyways, I would say honestly, Cattleya dowiana. If you know how to grow rex, you can grow Cattleya dowiana. I think both of them I would classify as a more warm growing Cattleya, not like super hot, but I think they really like to be kept a little warmer. bright, indirect light. If it's sunlight, if it's artificial light, just blast them to, fry them to a crisp under the artificial lights. Don't overwater, don't over-fertilize. Just have common sense, honestly. My God, that sounded so mean. That's not what I meant, but I don't know. I feel like it's hard to say. If people ask, how much should I water my plant? I'm like, I don't know. What media do you grow in? And so on and so forth, right? So it's such a complex topic, which is why I've been hesitating to make a video, because I've been asked to make a video about watering. And I don't know, because it's such a personal and individual thing, I feel very uncomfortable to just be like, you water your plants this often, otherwise I'm gonna crawl through the screen and rip your head off. Like, who wants that? No one. I have run into trouble with this Cattleya dowiana last year in the winter. I moved from Germany to Switzerland. This was 2023. Late winter. Anyways, don't have to be so specific. And the plants arrived and I watered very heavily. I have to kind of give a little bit of an insight there. I hate watering. As I said earlier, I water like once every 2 weeks in the winter, if that. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like I need to just get a little hydration into these plants. And I think I just overdid it with this Cattleya dowiana. And, days went by and it's just stayed wet. And also because I had just moved, new house, new life, new job, new everything. The heat mats were not out. No heat was running in the orchid room. And this plant was just sitting there with wet roots. And the temperatures dropped, I think, below 15 degrees at night. So that's low, very low for this plant, I think. And at some point, right, I noticed, this looks so dry. But I could tell that it's not because I didn't water enough, because the media was still wet. So I'm like, oh no, roots rotted. So I had to do kind of an emergency repot. And luckily, this was really just complete good fortune in a way. Because luckily Cattleya dowiana produces a new growth, and as the growth is coming, the roots emerge as well. So this plant didn't sit around for half a year with no roots. The new roots immediately grew into new media, and you can see we're safe now. But for a moment there, I thought, oof, I might have set back this plant and kind of delayed its development for several years. So I know I make these comments on, yeah, whatever, just water them, blah, 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 but yeah, you need to keep an eye on them, right? Both of these, right, Cattleya dowiana and Rex, have a reputation to be very hard to grow and very finicky. And while I don't fully agree with that, I think they're not the easiest plants to grow either, right? If you're very used to just a normal houseplant or even a Phalaenopsis orchid, these will be a completely different level of challenge for sure. But at the same time, don't let that discourage you. Because, right, I got these as a complete beginner and I managed to keep them alive and I managed to bloom them. And I'm actually glad I bought them without looking into where they come from, what they want, and so on and so forth. Because I feel like looking at that makes you discouraged, right? People say it's so hard to grow. You have really experienced growers that go, oh my God, like these are so difficult. And then you don't buy them and you never experience them. So yeah, don't let me saying, you need to kind of know what you're doing discourage you, because I'm sure you will manage to grow your plant just fine and it will bloom for you. And if not, you can leave a comment and we can talk about it and figure out what might be wrong. Right, that's what the community is there for. But yeah, so Cattleya dowiana, right? That was a bit of a tangent now. Cattleya dowiana is really super, super famous for its fragrance. I have not really experienced too much of the fragrance. I feel like I've heard it's so strong, it's so overwhelming. it's like you're knocked out from it. And I feel like it's there, it's strong, it's splendid, but it's not as much as I expected. And this might be because I only see this plant in the morning and in the evening right now. I haven't spent a weekend with this plant yet. So if it's super fragrant during the midday, I will never know, right? So I will comment on this video after I've smelled it during the noon hours or afternoon hours, and I'll let you know if the fragrance gets stronger. But also B, it's the first bloom, right? It's already huge, as we said, compared to my hand, right? One flower, hello, huge. Fragrance is also something that develops in a plant as it grows, and as the plant matures, as it gets stronger, the fragrance also gets enhanced. So maybe upon the next flowering, the fragrance might be much stronger or also different. And I feel like also for this plant, I've smelled it so many times now, and every time I had a different sensation. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, it smells like spicy rose. Then I smelled it again. I'm like, this is 100% like jasmine with a spicy twist. Now I smelled it and I'm like, this smells like Cattleya germanii, which is, I guess, like jasmine, lily of the valley, kind of this white floral, but also with a spicy twist. I'd say it's kind of a cinnamony warmth. It's definitely not as comforting as Cattleya Rex. I feel like Cattleya Rex is a very mild fragrance. I feel like you smell it and you relax. It's very soothing. I feel like Cattleya dowiana is more sharp. It's more edgy. It's kind of, if you think about fragrance, this is kind of your safe kind of comfort fragrance, and this for dowiana, it's more of a vampy scent. It's bolder, but I really enjoy it as well. It's really nice. I know it's so hard to describe scent, and everyone smells things so differently, but for me, it's really important to get kind of the message across, what they smell like. And I can also appreciate that if I say, oh, it smells like Cattleya germanii, it might not be helpful, but I feel like, I don't know, if you know, you know. But yeah, so I have to see if I can find some footage of this plant when it was much younger. I also have a care collab on this plant actually on the channel. Again, so cringe. Very bold to sit down with your little shriveled plant and tell everyone how it's done. But you know, it's youth, I guess. Now that I'm in my 30s, I'm much more humble. But yeah, so let me know, as I said, if you have any more questions. And yeah, I'll hope to be able to, I don't know, showcase the plants a little better, because I feel like in this view it's probably not very good. Also, just the color of the dowiana. I feel like the Rex is very easily captured, but the dowiana and its complexity, just because of the tone, I think, of the lip, it's gonna be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to say other than thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for everyone who's looked at my community posts, because I feel like, right, I have not posted a video in forever. Because I feel like for me the activation barrier for a video is pretty high. At some point I felt like I ran out of topics, like what can I talk about? Because my collection is mainly young plants. Now maybe this is a video topic in and of itself. I've already made a video about kind of how to take care of young plants, but maybe it's something that I could revisit now that some of the plants are slowly maturing and kind of getting ready to bloom. But yeah, so I feel like at some point I was like, what am I gonna show everyone? It's just so boring. Like, who wants to see a new growth on plants? And I was just not very inspired. But I feel like now for sure, especially also because I've been explicitly asked, please show videos of your plants in bloom. Show how big they are once they reach flowering size. Yeah, and also Fernanda Nascimento, she really wanted to hear a little bit of an update on the Cattleya dowiana. she's always there in the comments. Honestly, Fernanda, I feel so supported by you because, right, if I post pictures, you're always one of the first people to comment, and that means a lot to me. And I really enjoy your content, by the way. So thanks a lot for being there and always cheering me up. But yeah, so where was I going with this actually? Anyways, yes, thanks a lot for everyone who's been there in the community section. Yes, community section. So for me, I've just been posting pictures in the community tab of the channel, which I think not many people look at. Obviously, YouTube is a video platform, so we're not here for images. This isn't Instagram. But for me, it's just sometimes so much easier to just take a picture of scale on my plants and be like, oh, I hate scale. Speaking of, I honestly got the best tutorial of how to get rid of scale in the comment section of one of these posts. I'm just gonna put it here, or maybe put a link somewhere to this post. Thank you so much for that comment. Honestly, love that. I'm not gonna show you the backside of these plants, by the way, because the dowiana for sure, there's scale on it as we speak, and it's not just a little. So I'm not gonna show you that. Here, and basically all on every single back bulb, on this bulb as well. Here, everywhere, there is scale. And actually also an entire ant colony made this pot of the Cattleya rex its home. Like they live there now. And I'm pretty sure they also go and play with the scale. So I watered this plant and suddenly I saw all the ants put their little eggs and pupae up so they don't drown, and I'm like, excuse me, what? So yeah, anyways, I guess these are the next challenges to face, but I'm rambling, which means I should probably end the video here. Thank you so much for watching again. You know, leave comments, tell me what you'd like to see, if I should go into more detail about anything, if you'd like to know anything else. Leave a comment and I'll try to make a video soon-ish. Bye! Jesus Christ, this is a mess. Also, you can hear the tram and it's so annoying. Maybe we should just have a quick beverage. Oh dear. This year it has 4 flower spikes.
You water your plants this often, otherwise I'm gonna crawl through the screen and rip your head off.